Oh, trying to get this title in here. Welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I'm Michael Pinter. I teach you how to start flipping and wholesaling houses in New York, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. And we got a question today. Should you sell? Somebody asked me, should I sell my house as is? Or I'm titling this, should you sell your house as is? So let's talk about what as is means. As is can mean a few things. Sorry, I just knocked over my phone. So as is can mean as is for condition. As is can mean as is because of municipal problems. As is, those are usually the two things, right? There's some kind of condition issue. You don't want to make you don't want to make any repairs, or there are municipal issues. Let's say an open permit, an open violation, or unpermitted addition. So it really depends on what the situation is and what your goals are. So if your goal is to max out every dollar, you might want to sell your house as is, list it with an agent, and just say it's as is. Now, anytime the words as is are going to show up in any listing agreement, you have to understand that people are going to want to know what the hell is going on. So if the property's in terrible condition, they might see that from the pictures. Another as-is situation, I forgot the third one, is if there's a tenant in there and you want to sell it with the tenant. Now, there is a misconception with a lot of people I speak to all the time. They think that a buyer will want a property with a tenant in there. Because this tenant's great, he's been there 30 years. I promise you that there are almost no buyers for residential 1 to 4 family properties, well, 1 to 2 family properties, who want tenants in there. Because almost every buyer wants to screen their own tenants. And they're always going to assume that there's some problem with the tenant. And I can tell you that 90% of the time, the tenants are not paying market rent. Market rent's gone up a lot. And chances are, if you have somebody in there for a long time and you love them, you probably haven't raised their rent to where it should be. So most people, including myself, when I buy a property, I don't want it with a tenant. I buy a lot of properties with tenants. I buy properties with uncooperative tenants all the time. People not paying. People haven't paid rent in 3 years. But ideally, if you want to max out the most money, you need to get that property vacant. So you can sell it as is because of condition. You can sell it as is because of municipal issues. You can sell as is because of occupancy issues, right? Can't get somebody in there. But that is still, as crazy as it might sound, the way to get the most money from your property. List it with an agent, list it as is, explain to the potential buyers. You're going to show it to the most people because it's going to be listed on multiple listing services. That is the way to get the most money. The other way to sell your property as is to an investor like me, who is going to take your property as is and is going to take it and give you certainty and convenience that you're not going to get from selling it to a regular retail end user buyer, right? The certainty that you don't have to worry about the as is issues. You probably don't have to even clean it up. My number is my number, and I'm taking it with the issues that I understand them as they are. I can tell you that anytime you're going to sell your property the first way, listed with an agent as is, you're going to have complications a lot of the time because people don't understand what you're talking about. So I can tell you this happened plenty of times where people say, hey, I'm selling it with the tenant, and then the contract just says it's going to be vacant. Like their attorney doesn't even understand the concept of selling a property with an occupant in there. And I've seen these problems come all the time. Or they said, well, the listing said as is, so I don't have to clean it up, but the contract says it has to be room clean. So selling to an investor provides certainty and convenience that you are just not going to get if you list the property with an agent. But it's going to come at a price, right? You're going to sell property to an investor for less money, I would say almost every time, than you would sell to an end user buyer listed on the MLS, on the multiple listing service. So should you do it? It really depends on the situation, right? I know people who literally came to me crying recently as the pandemic was going on, and as the eviction moratorium because of the pandemic was going on, who said, listen, I haven't gotten rent in 3 years. It's costing me a fortune. I need to sell it, and I really, give me a number. And in all those cases, I was able to get inside, pretty much all, and maybe not in one unit, and I was able to make them an offer that they accepted. And now the eviction moratorium ended on my birthday on January 15th, 2022. It's a day that will live in infamy as being so great because now I can evict about 17 people that I have in these properties, and I will get them out. And I'm thrilled that I'll get out. The courts are actually moving much quicker than I thought they would be. I really thought that there would be a huge backup in the courts. I'm getting court dates now for March. We're in February, so that's amazing. And it's looking like In worst case, if they fight me 3 to 4 months, I'm going to get everybody out. So that's great. I'm thrilled. But from a seller's perspective, if you want to sell a property as is, you have to understand that people are going to not understand what you're doing, because a standard transaction, a standard real estate transaction, is vacant, broom clean, no title issues whatsoever, so no open permits, no open violations. If you have an open permit, and I see this all the time for things that are 50 or 60 years old, it is a huge pain in the ass to deal with, right? And I will take properties with open permits and open violations. I take them all the time. But in general, when I make my offer, I assume none. And if they're there, then I have to really evaluate what has to be done. I don't like dealing with open permits and open violations. Unpermitted additions are something that I deal with all the time, and it's for me, it's a breeze. It really depends on what it is. But if it hasn't been caught by the local municipality yet, that makes it a lot easier. But it's something you need to be concerned with, because some buyers' attorneys, some lenders, some title companies are going to have issues with that. So you need to understand what your situation is and whether you should sell it as is or whether you should fix it up. Now, I speak to people all the time. They go, I need to do something. I spoke to somebody yesterday. I need like 4 months to fix it up. I will tell you that most of the things that people think they need to fix up do not need to be fixed up. So if it's a minor thing, it's like, I'm going to paint, I'm going to fix this. Usually those are things, I can't say usually. Sometimes those are things that you should do, and sometimes those are things you don't need to do. I can tell you, I know people that say, the colors are bad. Most people that buy a house are going to paint it anyway, right? I can tell you, I used to paint. First thing people did when they moved in is paint again. So if there are holes, you might want to close them up. If it's an old leak, like there was a leak 100 years ago in a ceiling, that's something you want to patch up, because people don't know that it was old. They think it's an active leak. So those are things to keep up. But in general, the things that are going to sell a house are in order: kitchen, bathrooms, flooring, walls. Systems sort of go, like, they have to work, they have to be okay. So you need a boiler that works, you need an electrical system that works. Exterior, you need a decent roof. It doesn't have to be brand new. A roof and some kind of sheathing on the outside, it's okay. It doesn't have to be siding. It can be old, crappy aluminum shingles. You can paint it. Those are the things that I go through in my head every time I see a property, right? I see people that go, I have to make this closet bigger because this is too small a closet. Those are things that most buyers can see past. Now, there's a lot of things people can see past in today's market because it's an incredibly hot seller's market. And there are thousands of people who've tried to move into this area over the last few years and be getting priced out. So if your house is, let's say, not great, what you should do is price it a little lower than what everything else is going for, and you might sell it. Now, I don't know what the situation is with your house, but minor repairs, holes and things probably should be done. But if you're not fixing the kitchen, so I know people that have done a lot of work to the house, but they leave the kitchen and the bathroom. The kitchen and bathrooms are original, and they do other work. People come in there, and they, numbers start going through their head. This is going to cost me $150,000 to fix, and they walk away from the house, right? So what should they have done? Not fixed it up at all, gotten an idea of what the price is, and this is something you can call me for, and I'll tell you as is, this is what you can sell it for without touching it, right? And this is what you sell for me, or this is what you can put on the market. I usually give people choices. I'm one of the few investors out there that also operates as a realtor, so I've said on 1,000 occasions to people, listen, this is a house that you do not need to sell to me or any other investor. You're going to leave a lot of money on the table. Let me list it for you. I'll get you a lot more money. And sometimes people say yes, and some people say no. I don't want to go through that process, right? I don't want people coming into my house. I don't want that. I just want to sell it to you. And that's happened. So I've gone on many, many appointments where I thought for sure it was going to be a listing, and I've gone on many, many appointments where I thought it was going to be a listing, and they ended up selling it to me. I've gone to many appointments where I thought I was going to buy it, and I ended up listing it. So it really is. I do what's in the best interest of the seller. And believe me, I make a lot more money when I buy it than when I list it, for sure. But I'm not going to rip somebody off. And also the idea that people aren't going to realize they can list it is absurd, right? So the few occasions where I was like wondering, should I tell this guy to list it? And then I didn't. They ended up listing it. So I always tell people to list it if I think that's the best thing for them. So I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're interested in a course I have that teaches how to do what I do, go to howtoflipnewyorkcourse.com. If you are interested in finding out more about one-on-one coaching I offer, go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any channel, please click the thumbs up. The likes really help me. And I go live 5 times a week. I don't always know what to say, so please keep the comments coming with questions. It doesn't have to be about the video you're watching. If it's something simple, I'll just reply with an answer. And if it is something that I covered before, I'll send you links to the videos. And if it's something new, I will do a new video on it. So I really appreciate everybody that's been watching. Thank you very, very much for watching.